Okay.
Well, it sounded slightly Irish there.
Well, welcome to our attendees, and great to see you, Renee. Great to see you again, Jennifer.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Such a pleasure to be here. I thank you the two of you for joining me on this. I really appreciate the fact that you agreed to spend this time with me here this afternoon.
Oh, our pleasure for sure. Love to shred the news and let's CDAP it. What can we say there, Patrick?
I was not expecting that. You had that in your back pocket, didn't you?
I did not. I did not. Not just a pretty face here.
She's always got something in her
You
back
just
pocket.
you
Always
just
something.
freeform that. Oh wow, I'm impressed. Oh, you've got skills. You've got skills.
Oh man. Yeah, that's true. Beyond shred. So we have to talk
Oh
about
my
that. That's a
goodness.
whole other webinar.
That's another webinar. We'll put that one together for another time.
Ah, well, folks, we just really want to thank all our listeners, everybody for coming and joining us this afternoon. And for those of you out in the West this morning, thank you so much for joining us and choosing to be here and spend your time with us. We greatly appreciate that. And so my name is Renee Besson, and I'm from RB Accounting Associates, where we make profit deliberate and intentional. And one of the ways we do that is we look for cash injections for our clients, because obviously that can boost bottom lines. And so whether it's a grant or it's cash back, cash injections are always good to boost bottom lines. And so today we're going to be talking about the SR&ED program and the CDAP program and how they're different, but how they're both two government incentive programs to really boost your business. So many business owners we find when it comes to government programs, there's a little bit of confusion. Do I qualify? Is there a lot of red tape? How do I even start the process? And so today, our goal is to really demystify. We want to take that confusion and replace it with clarity. And so, as such, we have our two expert panels, Jennifer Martin, who's going to talk to us about SR&ED, and Patrick Von Pander, who's going to be talking to us about the CDAP program. And we want to also make it clear, folks, that we welcome your questions. We want you to ask as many questions as possible, throw it all out there. Please do put it in the chat, because at the end of this, we will have a Q&A where you'll have an opportunity for our panelists to answer your questions. And so with that said, we're going to start. So we have our two panelists. Jennifer is up first. So I'm going to introduce Jennifer Martin, and she's going to talk to us about SR&ED. Now, Jennifer is a very positive, upbeat person who is passionate about educating Canadians about the SR&ED program. She's an account executive for the Bond Consulting Group. And in this capacity, she works to identify relationships with SR&ED business partners. As a U of T graduate with over 20 years of experience in the development of professional B2B relationships, Jennifer is known and driven by her sense of curiosity, commitment, and determination to help others. So the SR&ED program, so that's a bit of a mouthful here, folks, bear with me. It's the Scientific Research and Experimental Development Program. It's a government program that rewards Canadian companies for research and development. The program it makes Canada more economically competitive and more technologically advanced as a nation. So it's been in effect since the 80s. So it's not something new, folks. And so this Canadian incentive program is one of the most regenerate R&D programs in the world. Now, it's not a grant. So if you qualify, the funds received will be subject to the Income Tax Act. Now, in terms of if you qualify, straight off the bat, we're going to give you a few prompting questions. Now, you may qualify if you can answer the affirmative to any of the following questions. Those questions are you incorporated in Canada? Have you faced challenges when producing products or a technical process? And do you work with packaging at all? Have you designed or built any prototypes? Do you have labor, material, or overhead expenses? Does your company develop or produce food and or beverage products. So if you answer yes to any of those, you may be eligible. So with all of that said, let's introduce Jennifer Martin from the Bond Consulting Group.
Thank you very much for that wonderful introduction, Renee. And I'm looking forward to learning more about CDAP with Patrick. So yes, I am an account executive here at Bond Consulting Group. We specialize in SR&ED services. We are a full service SR&ED firm that can assist you with your claims that go to a scientific body of CRA, and it has been around for almost 20 years. What is SR&ED? So Renee mentioned, what does it stand for? It stands for scientific research and experimental development. Sometimes it sounds a little scary, a little intimidating, but it doesn't need to be. I might even call on Patrick and Renee. Like, what's another word for research? Does that mean anything to you? What does research mean, Patrick?
I guess it means exploration. If it's led by a spirit of relentless refinement, oftentimes that's where innovation happens, is that desire to really kind of improve on what's out there.
Right. Problem solving. Can you,
Absolutely.
right, solve a
Expanding my
problem.
knowledge by trying something.
Right. And so the whole piece on SR&ED is you're advancing your knowledge in science, medicine, or technology through problem solving. Could be scientific method and testing. So I liken this entire program, and if you can go to the next slide, please, Renee, I liken it to unemployment insurance. And most people have heard about unemployment insurance before. You have to know about the program. You have to meet eligibility requirements. And once you apply, you will get the money, and that's fantastic. You can apply if you have eligible activities each and every fiscal year. So it's not a grant, it's a rewards incentive program. How much can you get? Doctors who are eligible, oftentimes medical specialists are eligible because every day they are advancing their knowledge in science or medicine. And a typical refund for a medical doctor could be anywhere from $25,000 to $150,000 every year. So how wonderful is that? Other sectors too that have SR&ED eligibility: IT, medical, clinics, academic research, farming, food and beverage, pharmaceuticals. So next slide, please. Don't feel silly if you haven't heard about SR&ED. There's a lot of misconceptions out there. People just don't know about the program. And I like to say, I am here to shred the news. So I'm asking all of you too. Hopefully by the end of this, you can all keep shredding the news with me about this wonderful program. So a lot of people here say, my accountant never told me. But that's not something they may know. We submit a claim to the scientific body of CRA. It's a very completely different division, very separate. And accountants aren't having those types of conversations with you. They're not talking to you about the challenges you've had in your business outside of a financial scope. People think they need to be profitable. Incorrect. That is just plain false. If you are spending money and you have salary, T4 expenditures, subcontractor fees, you've bought product or materials that you are doing this testing, this program will refund you a percentage of that. And SR&ED's like a grant program. We see the word, some people say that it's not exactly, but people understand what a grant is a little bit better. But it's an entitlement, it's a reward for your advancement of knowledge in science, medicine, or technology. If you've been denied in the past, maybe your program end project wasn't eligible. Maybe it wasn't documented properly. I do ask you to reach out to us at Bond Consulting Group, perhaps for a second opinion. Technical versus technological. And yes, that's a little complicated. Sometimes that's the difference between, I don't know, plugging something into a wall and then it doesn't work because you forgot to unplug it or plug it back in. And technological, we're looking at technological advancements. Next slide, please. So think about time. We make it really easy over here. Let's talk about time that you would need to put into this. To start, 20-minute assessment doesn't cost anything. Stats, 95% of our claims are accepted as filed. 5% that have been audited, we're 100% successful in that. And we have a 99.5% success rate in all sectors. Cost. Doesn't cost you anything until you're getting your money. You would pay us a percentage from your refund for our professional fees, but that only comes into play once you've gotten your money back from the government. And earlier I was chatting with Patrick and Renee, and processing time right now with CRA is 2 to 3 days. So can you imagine that you've submitted your claim and you get your money within the week? That's wonderful. It's time of year as well, so it depends what happens. If you're submitting your claim with corporate taxes, you might not get it till a bit later. You might be looking at 2 to 3 weeks or a few months on average. Renee, next slide, please. I would like to thank those of you who are joining us, courtesy of RBA and Associates, RB Accounting and Associates. If you called Bond Consulting Group and you've been watching this webinar today, I invite you to use this discount code and you get a discount from our professional fees. And you can get an assessment. Mention it to any doctors, clinics, pharmaceutical companies, IT, manufacturing firms that you might know, and you can again help me shred the news and use that code. You know, I just even also wanted to share with you some stories for some scenarios for eligibility. We have a client who is working to figure out how to put Wi-Fi underground. So, how do you put internet access in a mine? Well, they're going to be advancing knowledge in science, medicine, and technology here in Canada. So they are going to get a substantial cash reward from the program. If you're in agriculture, how do you plant your grapes? How far apart do you spread your seeds? Did you bring in a new variety that's not native to Canada? You must be learning something there. Then you're also advancing your knowledge in science, medicine, or technology. Sports science for chiropractors. Did they use a combination therapy? What's happening in this particular practice that you can't Google search an answer for, or you can't buy a piece of equipment? An algorithm, an IT algorithm that does something interesting, unique. Is that going to fall under IT or applied math? So you would need a shred specialist such as Bond Consulting Group to work with you and help you determine that. Feel free to reach out to myself. You can contact us at info@bondconsulting.ca. My name is Jennifer Martin. There are 3 Jennifers over here, so let me emphasize Martin. And you can also give us a call. And hopefully you've also taken the opportunity to write down a few questions, because we're going to circle back to you on our website. We've had Peter Mansbridge speak to our CEO, and we've got some great little short videos about SR&ED in different sectors. As I mentioned, manufacturing, IT, research, pharmaceuticals, medical doctor, and Arlene Dickinson from Dragon's Den also had participated. And if you go into particular sectors, you will learn about doctors and clinics with her speaking to our CEO about it as well. So hopefully you are encouraged to participate in the program. It's not going anywhere, and it just takes 20 minutes for an assessment. So thank you very much. And again, please help me shred the news. Renee, thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. We so appreciate you taking the time to be here and to explain to folks about the SR&ED program and how they can take advantage of it. That's been really great. So just a reminder again to folks that you're more than welcome to put your questions in the chat. And as Jennifer said, we'll circle back to you at the end and we'll be happy to answer her questions. So next up, we're going to have Patrick Von Pander talk to us. So we're really excited about that. Patrick is very, very passionate about what he does as well. So Patrick Von Pander is also known as the Big Picture Coach. So that means that he is a technology transformation consultant, a digital adoption coach, and a fractional sales manager, and he has been such since 2005. So he's one of the few approved digital advisors for the Canada Digital Adoption Program, and that's the governmental grant program. So he supports technology transformation and digital adoption for Canadian small and medium enterprises. And he is the 2022 Consumer Choice Award winner for business coaches in the city of Vancouver. He specializes in helping businesses choose and adopt technology for the purpose of growth and profitability. And you know, I'm all about that. So he specializes in CRM, ERP implementation, and adoption of Zoho One, Salesforce, and MSD 365. And he's a fractional sales manager for companies with that have annual revenues between $1 and $10 million annually. So without further ado, we are happy to welcome and please take the floor, Patrick Von Pander.
Thank you so much, Renee. Appreciate you, and great presentation, Jennifer. Really appreciate those insights. I've got a couple of questions for you as well with the examples that that you shared. That's really helpful, and I'm very curious about that. So I'm just going to pull together the material here and be able to share with you a bit of a slide deck on the Canada Digital Adoption Grant Program, which was born out of research that the federal government did in 2021. And the upshot of that research was that Canadian small and medium enterprises, when it comes to our adapting and integrating technologies and adopting digitization and automation, we're falling behind other Western industrialized countries. And when you compare us directly with our counterparts in the US, we're falling way, way behind. So there were a handful of reasons for that. They found that a lot of business owners or partners or leadership teams, they were not really technologically transforming because they found technology to be quite confusing, overwhelming, the number of choices that are available. There was fear associated with choosing or making investments in the wrong technologies for their business, in their field, at their size, that they didn't have the subject matter expertise in-house to properly assess and evaluate which technologies they could build their business on top of for the next 5+ years. And they didn't have the funds to be able to hire outside subject matter expertise that can help be their guide in that regard. And so out of all of those aspects was born this digital adoption program. And so you'll see that as I go through this, you'll see how they put it together. And in my 20 years as a certified business coach, I have been involved with different government programs as a resource. And I've never seen one as well funded, as well set up and organized, and as well supported as this one has been. And I've been very fortunate to have been approved early last April of last year. And since last summer, I've been beating the drum and getting the word out. I love your let's shred the news pitch. I wish I had something similar for the CDAP program. I'm just going to say that I've been beating the drum actively, and I want as many of our Canadian businesses to take advantage of this as possible. And so this shares with you the kind of mandate and key goals that the government has with this program, and that they invested and have budgeted $1.4 billion over the next several years, right through till pretty much the end of 2025, to have Canadian small and medium businesses take advantage of the two grants that I'm going to be outlining for you. So there are two grants. There's the Stream 1 grant, which is designed specifically for those businesses that are consumer facing or have some kind of consumer facing offering, that they can take advantage of a $2,400, they're calling it a $2,400 micro grant, which can be deployed in any one of like 3 different ways. So if the business doesn't already have e-commerce and abilities or capabilities enabled on their website, the $2,400 can be used to set it up. If they do have one, but it could use or benefit from, say, expanding it or high grading its feature functionality, then it can be used for that. If the business already has a really skookum website and e-commerce capability, the $2,400 can be used to drive more pre-qualified traffic, especially through SEO, to that existing website. And so that one is low-hanging fruit for a lot of businesses, especially since the eligibility requirements have even been further relaxed in the last few months. From what I'm going to share with you. The Stream 2 grant is the one that I'm an approved digital advisor for. This one is more full spectrum in scope, and it's a 90% grant up to a maximum of $15,000 to be able to hire a digital advisor that's qualified and experienced in being able to put together a digital adoption plan specifically tailored for that business. So that business in their industry or field or profession at their size. And then once that plan has been produced for them, to really leverage that in potentially a couple of different ways, which I'm going to explain. You can get up to $100,000 5-year interest-free loan from BDC to help with the support and implementation of, say, some or most or all of what might be called for in the plan. And if you're either missing a skill set in-house, technologically related skill set, or you're short-staffed or tightly staffed in your company to be able to help with the implementation part of a digital adoption plan, that you can hire youth placement wage subsidy that can be put towards, say, hiring a recent graduate of a tech program or co-op student of a tech program. So I'm going to go through the details. Let's start with Stream 1. This was launched in July of last year. It was actually the second one that was launched. The Stream 2 was actually launched first. And the eligibility requirements are as follows. As long as you are a for-profit business, that you're properly registered with the Registrar of Companies, either provincially or federally, and with CRA, and that you have a consumer-facing business. And this one criteria, the business with a minimum of 1 employee other than the business owner, that one is the one that's been relaxed now. They haven't updated the spreadsheet. So I will share with you that one has been relaxed. And now, as long as you can prove that you did 30,000 in top line revenues in the previous year, and you meet the other eligibility requirements, you're in. And in fact, I've teamed up with a team that I've actually used to become eligible for this. So if you are a business or you know of a business that could benefit from this, please reach out and connect with me, and I'll connect you up with the team that I've worked with personally for my business on this. And they will not only help you implement what needs to be implemented, but they'll help you with the application process. You just share with them a few contact information details, and they'll take it from there. So the process for this, you can contact me with this, and I can connect you up with Ken and his team. Or you can go onto the website, self-identify that you're interested in the Stream 1 Grow Your Business Online program, answer a few questions, disclose some things that share what your eligibility requirements are, and you'll be directed to a local intermediary website for how to be able to apply for the web grant or the micro grant. Or you can contact me and I can put you into the express lane process of this. Stream 2, this one's a little more in depth, and it's the one that I'm involved with very deeply since last summer. Eligibility requirements are similar but different than the Stream 1 requirements. This one's the Boost Your Business Technology Grant Program, and it is for sole proprietors or incorporated companies, again, for-profit, privately owned companies that have between 1 and 499 full-time employees, which can include the owner. So that head count of 1 can include the owner if it's their full-time focus, and that they have done between $500,000 and $100 million in top-line revenues in any one of the last 3 years, which can include the pre-pandemic year of 2019, just in case you're the type of business or the type of business might have been adversely affected during the pandemic, and that you are a majority Canadian-owned and controlled business. If you're majority owned and controlled by a foreign company, sorry, you're not eligible. If you're a not-for-profit organization or a publicly traded company, sorry, this one's not for you. But having said that, these are pretty wide eligibility requirements. The process, this one is quite structured. You go onto the website, you self-identify that you want to pursue the Boost Your Business Technology Grant Program, puts you into the Stream 2 flow, and they pivot you into, after you share some of your eligibility requirements, answers to the questions they pose, they pivot you into something called the Digital Needs Assessment. It's essentially an online questionnaire that most people have been taking about 25 to 30 minutes to complete, and it gives you a sense of how technologically sophisticated or unsophisticated you are compared to other businesses in your sector or in your profession, in your field. Once you've done that and you've been then approved, they'll check that your eligibility requirements are confirmed. If you don't know of an approved digital advisor like myself, and I'm hoping that you'll pick me on this, but if you come through the program and you don't know someone, it'll pivot you into something called the Digital Advisor Marketplace. And this is basically an online directory of the roughly 200 of us that are across the country that are approved digital advisors, and our profiles that share our experience and our expertise level and contact information so that you can find the right digital advisor for your situation. And once you've chosen a digital advisor, you'll work out with them the scope and scale of the plan that is to be produced. So as a digital advisor, I want to know where the areas of strength and weaknesses are, and we'll tailor the plan writing to that. And then when the plan has been completed, which in my case 1 to 3 months is generally what I budget for in terms of turnaround time, and between about 100 to 150 hours of like research and plan writing and communication with the clients. The clients usually need to share with me about 5 to 15 hours of their time, because I need to be able to do some information gathering at the front end. Once the plan has been completed and uploaded to the CDAP program, the 90% grant is then released. And they've been, while their mandate is to provide that payment within 30 days, They've been doing much better than that. Even at the beginning of the program, they were turning it around in about 2 weeks. And since middle of December, I've been experiencing with my projects that my clients have been getting their money within a week, direct deposit into their bank accounts. And so the maximum exposure really for the business to get this plan done is $1,500. And so for that, they get $15,000 worth of consulting and advisory services. And once you have that plan in place, you can then use that as supporting documentation to apply for up to $100,000 5-year interest-free loan for those loan funds to be used for things like upgrading hardware or equipment, or investing in software or software as a service solutions, or custom app development, or bringing in a third-party company to be able to custom configure or custom design maybe the off-the-shelf software that has been recommended. So those are just a few examples of how you can deploy some of those funds to be able to really technologically transform your business. The second avenue that's available to you with that digital adoption plan in hand is the youth placement wage subsidy that I mentioned earlier, who can be brought in to help satisfy a need or a skills gap that you might have. To unpack this a little bit more, this is what a little bit of detail. Wanted to share some detail with you about the digital needs assessment. When you completed that online questionnaire, it produces a PDF report with a dashboard that gives you some metrics in terms of how, like I said, how sophisticated or unsophisticated you are compared to other businesses in your business field. Digital advisors, this is what we are responsible for in order to produce digital adoption plans that are compliant to the standards of the program. I'm required, digital advisors are required to be able to get to know your business well enough to do a proper SWOT analysis. So if you're not familiar with SWOT, it's short for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. The second piece that I'm mandated to provide is a complete technological inventory of what you have right now. So things like hardware, software, apps that you're using. And then third is to be able to scan for and investigate any potential skills gaps, especially that can be addressed by technology in some way, shape, or form. And so all of that forms the situation analysis. And then from that situation analysis, I'm required to provide a minimum of 3 different solution options, with each of those solution options having budgets and implementation timeline forecasts attached to it, so that it can become that supporting documentation for things like the BDC loan, for the youth placement wage subsidy, and just for the business to be able to properly budget and assess and prioritize what they want to be able to do with the plan. And by the way, just an FYI, the business, once it has the plan in hand, is under no obligation to be able to implement the plan. If they want to implement none of it, they can. If they want to implement some of it, most of it, or all of it, that is completely their choice. So, but it is there for them to be able to pursue. Some more detail about the BDC loan information. Essentially, you want to make a business case for the loan. It is a loan application with the BDC, and it is an online application form that opens up in your CDAP portal. When you have the plan complete and uploaded, two new gateways open up in your CDAP portal that's specific to the business that's applied for the grant. And those portals allow you to be able to online apply for the BDC loan and or the youth placement wage subsidy program. The budget is for up to almost 17,000 youth placements to be placed as a part of this program, which is kind of exciting. It's a kind of a win-win. It helps our young technology graduates gain some experience. And the youth placement wage subsidies is up to $7,300, which in the projects that I've been working with has been equating over the 6-month minimum commitment that the program is looking for from a business to equate to about half of the investment in bringing that person on to help with implementation. And then there's the contact information for the CDAP program, the CDAP grants. There's a toll-free number that you can contact, and there's a landing page that takes you through and opens the door for you to be able to confirm some of the information and details I've shared, or just start in on your application. So back to you now, Renee. That's my presentation. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it, and I hope you'll take advantage of it. These, whether it's SR&ED or with CDAP, it is there for Canadian businesses to take advantage of, and I'm allergic to having any businesses leave anything on the table. So let's go out there and get it.
Absolutely. And I think that's the beauty of the three of us coming together, is that we all feel super passionate about, businesses taking advantage of what the government has to offer. I mean, why wouldn't you, right? So I would like to thank everybody for being here. Those of you who have come and spent their time with us this afternoon or this morning, if you're in the West. And please, please, please do reach out to our panelists for more information regarding these programs if you want to take advantage of these. We really, like I said, we're all passionate about you getting, what you're entitled to and being able to boost your business. Who can't use more money? Who cannot?
Right?
Absolutely. So, so I really want to thank both of you for taking the time to share your knowledge. I'm so grateful because you are very knowledgeable, both of you, very passionate. I believe so strongly in each of you, and referring clients and people to work with both of you, because I think you're both super knowledgeable, super passionate, super fun people to work with. So thank you so much. So now I just kind of want to reiterate some of the points that we've already discussed, just so that folks can almost get like a bird's eye view or a Cole's Notes version of some of the points we've hit on. So let's just summarize. Now, if someone feels they're eligible for either SR&ED or CDAP or both, what should they do? So we'll just kind of hear from each of you one at a time.
I would love to have them send us an email. So I'm wondering, Renee, if I'm not sure if it's still there from an earlier conversation or not, if they would like to learn more and determine eligibility, they can email us at info@bondconsulting.ca. I urge them to use your discount code RBA-TOR-23-RB. And for that, they would receive a discount when using our professional fees. But again, nobody's paying for anything until they get their money back
Yeah,
from
what
the
a what a
government.
what a great deal. I mean, you can't go wrong. So, yeah, everything's in the chat. The discount code is in the chat. The email is in the chat. And so, Patrick, you tell us, how do people start the process
I
for
love
CDAP?
to receive an email. That is preferred, but I'm happy to communicate in any way that people want to communicate. If that includes, giving me a call on my cell phone or texting me on my cell phone, I'll just jump that into the chat as well.
Perfect.
Happy to
Perfect.
communicate either way. But yeah, send me an email. In fact, while we had this going on, I had the CDAP program let me know that that a business has come through the CDAP Digital Advisor Marketplace, and I've got an email to respond to and a new contact to connect with that I don't know who they are. So this is awesome.
Yeah, right.
Wonderful.
We're
That's
just
great.
Yeah, so it works. So happy to communicate. Email is great. Email, you've got the email thread to be able to work with, so that's always preferred. But happy to communicate however people want. I'm also quite active on LinkedIn, so you can find me on LinkedIn. There's only one Patrick Von Pander in the world, so like I'm really, really easy to search.
We will second that, Patrick.
Oh man, so guys, one thing
What about yourself, Renee? How about if they were
Yes.
reaching out to Renee,
oh,
RB
absolutely.
accounting?
Yes. Well, I will pop my email in the chat. I'm also very happy to facilitate one's um basically doing things to impact their bottom line, drive profitability, make plans to really use accounting not just for, oh, we have to get the books done because the taxes need to be done, but let's make a plan based on your accounting system can be so powerful. And many people, just like they may not know about grants or about SR&ED, they don't know that their accounting system can pull out information to make them profitable. So beyond, government compliance, which yes, we all must do, we can really, really use that information. It's just like, we might need a language interpreter to help us along. And that's what I do. And I'm happy, happy, happy to do that. So for anybody who's interested, absolutely. So there's my
Oh my God.
email in the
I'm
chat.
super passionate about this. Please give your contact information first, though.
Oh yeah.
There you go. You
Yeah,
got it.
it's there. And also I can also be reached by way of LinkedIn. I have my profile up there as well. So I'm super happy to consult with anybody who's interested in going just beyond the basic books and the basic tax return to really pull out the good stuff.
Well, you've
So
shown
here's
that today just by the fact that you know about CDAP and SR&ED.
Well,
yeah.
absolutely. And that's the thing. Like, and I want to be able to, make that known to people that there are these opportunities that they're not aware of. And so this is one of the ways that they can do exactly that and take advantage of those opportunities.
Can I just jump in here and I want
Sure.
to share something about Renee and the role that she plays. She helps businesses and people keep score. I'm a huge fan of sports, and one thing I learned over my lifetime is in sports you don't know how to play the game unless you know what the score is at any point in the game, any time in the match. If you're playing hockey and you're coming into the third period and you're tied 3-3, you'll play a certain way. If you're coming into the third period down 3-1, you're going to play a different way. If you're coming into the third period up 3-1, you're going to play a different way yet again. But you won't know how to play the game unless you know what the score is at every point in the game. And so for me, those numbers, like the financial numbers, you want to know what the score is. You shouldn't know what the score is just every tax time. You should know it all the time in real
100%.
time. And if you've got the real time information, you make better business decisions faster. And so tax time shouldn't be stressful. Actually, it should be like super easy because you're taking care of things not just once a year, you're
Yeah.
taking care of things all year as they happen, because life happens in waves
Yes.
and things change. And so if you don't know what the score is, so Renee and what she does is really helping you keep score and letting you make the most of the game of life and business you're playing.
Thank you so much for that. I love that analogy. I love that analogy because
Great.
it makes so much, because that's exactly it, right? Like you got to know where you want to go and then you set your plan. So
It was well
quick,
said by the big picture coach.
it
Come
is,
on.
right?
Flattery goes a long way with me, ladies. Thank you. So, Jennifer, I wanted to jump back. You mentioned in the examples of the types of businesses that could really benefit from the SR&ED grants, something that I wasn't aware of. When you gave the examples of grapes, like, oh my God, like it was epiphany for me because, I was born and raised in a small town called Oliver, which is the self-proclaimed wine capital of Canada in the South Okanagan. And I go back every summer and fall to do to visit friends up there and to do lots of wine tours. And it's turned into like Napa North. And I have gotten to know quite a few wineries, which now in my mind, I'm like, oh my God, SR&ED is another thing that they ought to be checking out. And so I didn't really connect the dots, that could extend to like wine planting and varieties that are brought into to that wine region. And they're kind of into innovation. They're very hardcore into their wines. So they're always looking to innovate. So now you've given me something else to think about, and maybe um, have it be another conversation point the next time I go on wine tours this summer.
Wonderful. Well, I'm so glad I happened to I find that that's the benefit of a SR&ED story. Every now and then I'm like, oh, what about this? And then somebody says, oh, one of the
I
other
know.
cases. I know. I love hearing that from you. And plus I know you understand SR&ED. So when that epiphany goes off in your brain, like I'm like loving it.
And it made me think, oh my God, I got to remember to include what types of businesses I've been working with, which I didn't do in my presentation because I felt like maybe it went a little long because there's a lot there. But yeah, I would say half of the projects that I've been doing are construction, building, and trades related companies, which I'm really happy and excited to be working with, because I've known for a lot of years that those are some fields that they're really good at what they do in terms of building and construction and being electricians and plumbers and so forth, but they're not really that great at being business people. And so if you can give them structure and organization and workflows and processes that are more best in class, like best practices, that's really helpful. And a lot of them are still like flying by the seat of their pants and running their businesses off of spreadsheets. And you know, I don't hate spreadsheets, but there's a better way.
Agreed. Agreed.
I'm not a fan of a spreadsheet, gotta say. Oh
So
my goodness.
I've got some questions for you guys. So, can we just reiterate a lot again, like how long does the process take? So, I'm a business, I want to apply. How long does it, what's this from the time I consult with you to the time funds are hitting my bank account? What does that look like in terms of a timeline?
Well, Renee, it would depend on how quickly you would get moving. Number one, because we are not the hold up in the whole scenario, but it is based on fiscal year end, and there's also an opportunity to pick up some retroactive claims, but they do expire 18 months after fiscal year end. But it starts with a 20-minute assessment to determine eligibility. Then maybe an hour or two, send us some materials about the projects that you're working on. You have a full team working here with a project manager, analyst, policy experts that write it all up. Then once we submit, as I mentioned earlier, you might get your money in 2 or 3 days from the government, or it might be 2 or 3 months. I think worst case scenario, for whatever reason, it might be a year or two, but I think that's back in the past. SR&ED program is moving along lickety split these days. And again, 95% of our cases are accepted as filed. So that's really great. And I knew Patrick had also mentioned earlier how quickly people were getting their money back. Was it 2 weeks, Patrick?
At the beginning, it was 2 weeks. Now it's under a week. When
Wow.
from the time that the CDAP plans are uploaded, they'll take about a day or so to review and make sure that it checks all the boxes in terms of what I need to have in that plan. And from that time, like they sent an email that it's been approved, and from that approval email, it's been like 3, 4, 5 business days that the monies are deposited into the business's account.
Great.
Okay. Okay.
So it seems like there's good discipline and structured administration happening for these two programs.
Yeah.
Right. I had a question for Patrick, though, too. When you are steering people towards the CDAP list of potential advisors, how long is that list? And,
So
will
there's
they
about
find you quite easily if you're scrolling down? You have to wait for P all the way to get to P? Like, how is it divided, or by province, or what's the deal there?
Yeah, so generally speaking, there's a number of different ways that they can search for us. There's about 200 of us nationally that are approved digital advisors. And so if you wanted to do a search in that directory based on location and geography, because you want to be able to work with somebody, in your area, you can do that. And I've had a few that have come through that way. But also if you are looking for a certain level of subject matter expertise, there's nine categories that I could have qualified for to help out with. And there was only one of the 9 areas that I wasn't qualified or experienced to be able to help with from a technological advisory perspective, and that is technology that relates to high-end like laboratory research. Every other area, whether it was like business development technologies, like market research technologies, lead generation, sales funnel technologies, whether it was internal operational product and service delivery technologies like inventory and supply chain management, internal communications technologies, office tools, HR and recruiting technologies, or whether it was on the financial bucket of technologies, which deal with things like bookkeeping and accounting, banking, payroll, finance, invoicing, and collections technologies. All of those things, including business intelligence or business analytics and cybersecurity. All of those I qualified to be able to help. So they can search by subject matter expertise as well. And I've had a few that have been sent my way out of Alberta and Winnipeg and Ontario, based on subject matter expertise, or the fact that I'm very experienced working with professional firms. In my coaching work, I've worked with literally hundreds and hundreds of like professionals across a real spectrum. And so sometimes they're looking to work with somebody that has that level of experience, like accountants and architects and lawyers and engineers and marketing professionals to help them fill their business with profitable clients. So it depends on what they're looking for. They can do searches based on subject matter expertise as well.
Interesting. Yeah. And I have a question for you, Jennifer. So for the SR&ED program, how often are people eligible? Like, is it
Oh,
like a
well,
one and done or?
nope, definitely not one and done. So that's like a big difference from a typical grant program, is that you may get eligibility and cash back every year. So if I think about a typical doctor medical claim, they're getting anywhere from 25,000 to, on average, $150,000 back, but every year. So that's wonderful. um Startups, we love to work with startups too. Startups don't know what they don't know. You need to be incorporated to participate in the SR&ED program, and it's from that point of incorporation, your expenditures, and you need to be on a salary. So sometimes we work with them from the very beginning to help get them started. Some of the other areas that I think of too: farming, fisheries. People forget agriculture is a science, horticulture, viticulture, agronomy. So think of all the fisheries that are out there.
Mm,
So, what have you learned about gestational mortality rates? What are you feeding them? How far apart do you need to keep this, that? All these things that a fishery who is doing fish farming in Canada would have eligibility, but they just don't know about the program. So again, to
Wow.
Patrick's point, that's why I'm always singing, please shred the news. We appreciate it. And I also have another little saying. I do say that we speak Shreddish, so you don't have to.
That's
And thank
awesome.
you. Thank you for laughing at my jokes, because the shred jokes over here have run dry and no one is laughing at my shred jokes anymore.
Oh,
To us, they're fresh and
you're
new,
awesome.
Oh my
Oh
goodness.
my goodness, that's awesome. Okay, so yeah, and what sort of documentation would a company need to provide to be eligible for either program?
Trick, you want to start?
Well, mine is really easy because the CDAP program websites really take care of that. So they ask for certain information. They'll ask for what's your legally incorporated name, and so from that, the CDAP team reaches out to registrar of companies, reaches out to CRA, and they can make sure that eligibility requirements, which there's not many, and they're pretty inclusive, can be confirmed. So it's quite straightforward. So as long as you're sole proprietor, or if you're an incorporated company, that you're one of the like directors or majority shareholders, that your contact information is there. And they've vetted the information that you're listing. Yeah, it's pretty quick turnaround time. They usually can vet that information within a day, or like 1 or 2 business days. And all of that information is just collected right up front in a matter of a few minutes.
Right,
So
and it's
long
all
as
online, like it's all
it's all
online.
online. Yeah.
Perfect. Jennifer?
So, little known fact, there is no supporting documentation that goes with an SR&ED claim. Hmm. However, we have limited amount of space with which to fill in the scientific piece to the claim for our clients, and we do prepare our clients for potential audits and discussions with CRA if they have any questions. And so we have a proprietary tool that helps set them up for success that they can use. And so every year they have been collecting the materials that would help make their claim more substantiated, and remind them about what they've done and what their expenses were and the amount of time that they've worked on their projects and programs. So again, we help them with the documentation behind the scenes, and but it does not get submitted with the claim.
Okay, interesting. Like you said, little known fact. All right, so this has been fabulous. We're pretty close to the top of the hour. So I just want to ask if either of you has any questions each for the other, any further information you want to share. We're happy to hear that.
I don't have any further questions, but I have to say, Renee, thank you very much for organizing this. Patrick, it has been a pleasure getting to know you and listen to what you do, how you do it. And I wish you nothing but the best success here. And I am happy to send some people your way when I come across the scenario that dictates it. So thank you both very much for allowing me into your lives over the past few months, actually, I have to say.
Oh, that's so wonderful. Yeah. I'll let Patrick have his say.
I, I echo that. I echo that spirit. You opened the door, Renee, and I appreciate you for doing that. And Jennifer, it's been fantastic being able to kind of add dimensions to what my understanding was of what SR&ED does. And at the end of the day, most of us are if we're in business together, like if we're in business, we want to be able to surround ourselves with those go-to subject matter experts that are really good at what they do, that play well with others, and that add lots of value. And so I'm just feeling really blessed that I've got you in my speed dials now for solutions. that I can direct people to. I love being that connector to resources that really help people and businesses out in their situations. You said it earlier, to help solve problems, or I would add to that, capture opportunities, and that's what it's about. And when we can do that, it lifts everyone's boats.
Yeah, 100%. And I too, I'm super grateful. Can literally remember a few months ago sitting at my desk and all of a sudden this brainwave hit me. I know these two awesome people and they're both involved in these awesome programs. And wouldn't it be awesome to bring them together and do something collaborative? So I'm so grateful that both of you accepted and that we were able to make that happen. Like I can't thank you enough for sharing your time, your knowledge, your expertise with me. And yeah, it's so good to have you as contacts. And so I'm really, really grateful to you guys for being here as panelists today. I can't stress that enough. It's really, really been a pleasure.
Well, thank you very much. Now, as we're coming up to that last little bit, I'm not sure then if either Patrick or Renee would like to stop recording.
I'll take care of that. Thank you,
Okay.
everyone. I appreciate you being here. And for those of you that weren't able to be on the call, but are seeing this as a recording, as a reference, thank you for seeing it all the way through. I'm hoping that you got a lot out of it. I think we shared a lot of information, and I hope we connect with you or people that you know that could ideally benefit from what we covered off today. And looking forward to crossing paths with you.
Absolutely. Grateful for
Take
everybody who
care.
took the time.
Bye.